In this 5-minute conference, you want to encourage the reader and at the same time explicitly name a goal he or she needs to work toward to be a stronger reader. Keep these 3 principles in mind. First, listen and invite the student to elaborate on his or her written responses. Second, help the reader feel supported. And third, connect the strategy goal to the book the student is now reading independently. Keep in mind that this conference is the first of many opportunities for you to teach toward this goal. It shouldn't be the case that the student accomplishes the goal by the end of this short meeting. Okay, so Nadia, I had a chance to take a look at your response form and the questions that you answered when you read Stuart Goes to School, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your reading in this book. Can you tell me first, what did you think of the book?
I think it was funny and
What part was funny?
when Stuart was show and tell when he was naked, only with boxers.
Yeah. I'm wondering when you answered the questions, if there were any that felt a little bit trickier, any that felt a little bit easy. What did you think?
Both.
Which ones felt kind of tricky? Can you turn to one that you remember being a little bit hard for you?
This one, number 4.
Yeah. Any other ones?
And this one.
Mm-hmm.
And this one.
This one?
Mostly this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that this question and this question, and also this question.
This one.
I know you thought this one was hard, but this one was a little bit incorrect. And these 3 questions are very similar. These 3 questions are all about figuring out the important events in the story and connecting the parts of the story together. And I noticed, that these 2 were tricky for you. And even though you thought this one wasn't tricky, I think it was because your response isn't quite right. So I was thinking we could work together a little bit on trying to figure out the big important parts of the story and how all those big important parts fit together, so that when you read the next book that you're choosing to read during independent reading, the story makes sense to you. So I want to give you a strategy. Why don't you take out from your desk, take out the next book that you're planning on reading for independent reading. All right, James Marshall. Okay, so let's just take a look at how this book is set up. Okay, so do you see how in this book there's a table of contents where each chapter has its own title? Mm-hmm. All right, so what I want to teach you today that's really going to help you with your reading and understanding those big important events in the story and how they connect is to read a chapter title, then read the chapter, and then at the end of the chapter you're going to think, what was the most important thing that happened in this whole chapter? And you can use the chapter title to help you. Okay? I'm going to stick around and have you try this with this first one. Just read that chapter title.
Rats on the Roof.
Rats on the Roof. All right, so read that chapter. When you get to the end, let's talk for a minute. Oh, okay, you got to the end? Okay, so can you tell me the single most important thing that happened? And let's use that chapter title to help. Go back to the very beginning.
I think the important thing happened with rats on the roof. And there were rats on the roof, and the dogs was trying to put pillows on top of their ears, but it didn't work because the rats keep going on. And then the second thing the dogs did was call a cat, because the cat will get the rats off the roof.
Okay, so it all connects back to this chapter title, right? I think this is going to help you, Nadia. I think it's going to help you to really pay attention to the most important things that happened. And I think that when you get to the end of a chapter, jotting quickly on a Post-it the big important things that happened would be a good idea. That way, when I talk to you in a couple days about your reading, I'll have a sense of how it's gone for you, okay? I'm gonna leave you this Post-it, and what this has on it is that strategy I just taught you, all right? Step
Really
1,
fast.
I write fast. Step 1, read the chapter title. Step 2, read the chapter. Step 3, think, what was the most important thing that happened? And step 4, use the chapter title to help. Okay, can you tell me back what you're gonna do?
First use the chapter title, then first you read the chapter, then second, third, you mostly think what mostly happened, and then fourth, use the chapter title to help you out.
Yeah, and jotting at the end of each chapter, so when I talk to you in a couple days, we could look at those sticky notes and see how it went. Sounds good? Okay, thanks, Nadia.